and would turn his phone face down if he was away to make sure I couldn't see anything.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Do you think that is a red flag?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Because I know I would do that.
Hi guys, welcome to Love What Lack. You know the drill already, I have to go straight in. If you don't follow me already, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button. You know I'm doing a giveaway when we get to 1,000 followers and we're super close. I think by next week I'll be there. But yeah, my listens are way up, but my followers are not. So if you listen to the episode and you like it, just give a gal a follow and it's a massive help. Anyway, I have to go straight in. I've got a guest on this week with me. I think you're my first guest this year, maybe. I don't know. I don't know, actually.
Oh, it's an honour.
I haven't had many guests on for a while, and it's a man, which I'm excited about, because I actually had a message the other day from a man saying, your podcast, or either my podcast or my videos have really helped him go through a recent breakup. He's like in his 50s. And he's like, do you get many men sharing stories? I was like, no, not at all. Because I just don't think men, generally speaking, like to share stuff, do they?
No. I suppose sometimes there's a stigma, isn't there?
Yeah.
Men are very closed at times, but you know me, Sades, I'm not like that.
No, exactly. So you're good. This is Stu, by the way. I haven't
Hi,
actually said
guys.
his name. I just
Hi,
said
guys.
it's a man.
This is a man. I just dragged him off the street.
Nothing more than a dick and balls.
Oh, okay.
No, we're joking.
Slightly more than that. Just a little bit.
You are.
Just a little bit.
So actually Stu is my boyfriend Matt's friend. That's how we know each other.
Yeah.
But we had like an intense meet, didn't we? Because usually when you meet a partner's friend, you meet them like once for dinner or something. We met Stu on holiday. So we had like a good few days together, didn't
Yeah,
we?
it was. It was Dubai, wasn't it? You came
Yeah.
up to see me and yeah, it was it 4 or 5 days, like you say? Yeah, it was, because it was when I was working 4 days on, 4 days off.
Yeah,
we
Stu
did
admitted
brunch.
to me that Matt was like, I'm gonna, bring my girlfriend, and he was like, oh God.
No, I wouldn't say that. I think there was apprehension over
Yeah.
meeting you, and you must have had the same for me.
Yeah.
However, the way it panned out, we got on, didn't we? So
Yeah.
it was good.
I remember we were in Dubai Beach and I was getting Matt to take a picture of me. And we hadn't met, but obviously I'd seen your photo from Matt's like Instagram or wherever.
Yeah.
So Matt had his back and I could see Stu, but I was like, is that Stu? Is it? I was like, hiya, is this Stu? And then Matt turned around like, it was like a little bit of a blind date, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. But we got on.
We got on. Now I would say we're friends.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Anyway, so that's our little intro to us. I'm going to keep the same format, so I'm going to go straight in with a story. So
Okay.
the story of the week for us.
Yeah.
I met my ex-fiancé 2 years ago. We got engaged quickly as his grandmother was dying and her wish was to see him get married. No pressure. After the engagement, he started acting off. Would do things like recording. I don't know what that means. I don't know if...
Recording.
I don't know.
That's what I would say it would be.
Yeah, I don't know. Would do things like recording and would turn his phone face down if he was away to make sure I couldn't see anything.
Oh, that's it. No.
Do you think that is a red flag?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Because I know I would do that.
But here's my thing.
If I'm up to no good.
You know, if you were out to dinner though and you had your phone out on the table and then you put it down, for me that's not a red flag. 'Cause I think you're doing it so the notifications don't distract you.
Yeah, but like for me, mine's linked to my watch, so I get them anyway. If you're putting it face down, like we're talking long term, serious relationship.
Yeah.
How I like to be like that is, you know my passcode, and I've got nothing to hide.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know if everyone's like that, but that's how I am in a serious relationship.
Yeah.
Because why would I not be?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because that's the connection that I'm looking for, and I want that solidarity.
Oh my God, all the girls listening to this now, we're going to go back to their boyfriends and be like, why don't you tell me your passcode?
No. Well, yeah.
I don't know, I've never asked a boyfriend for their passcode.
But I don't think it's something to if a girl asked me for it, I'd be like, whoa.
Yeah, that's true.
It comes more from,
yeah,
I would do it more that I've got nothing to hide.
Yeah.
And that gets me the trust badge or whatever.
And then you think like they wouldn't want to search her anyway because they've... Yeah, I get that. She does say...
That's not, I'm not saying that's for everybody, and like you say, I don't want all the girls now going to the boyfriends. I've just watched podcasts and this is what you should be doing. I'm not advocating for everybody, but that's what I would do.
I get it if you're at home and somebody's always putting their phone down, that probably is a red flag. But I think if I was out to dinner... Like my friends have even done it with me, and I'm not thinking that they've got messages about somebody bitching about me. I just think sometimes you have your phone there, but you don't want the notifications to distract you. Because I've done it sometimes. Where you have your phone and you see notifications, and you're like, oh, that's distracting. I turn it down. So that I wouldn't say is a red flag, but yeah, probably at home. Yeah,
that's what I'm meaning. Like I get the restaurant thing and out in public, absolutely. But in general, in the relationship, if she's saying that he's always doing it, that to me is like, what's going on there? And that's where then I'm talking like, it should realistically be where if you've got nothing to hide, why would you not want the passcode? Do you know what I mean?
I also think like in this situation, it probably doesn't matter how many times he did it, because I think in some situations just have a gut feeling. Yeah. And like you see somebody do things a couple of times and your gut just tells you. And I think sometimes that overrides. Like there could be somebody listening now and their boyfriend does and they're like, no, but it's just because he does more notifications, and they know. But then if there's somebody else listening thinking, oh God, yeah, I've dated someone that does that all the time. If it's making you feel a certain way, it's probably because you've got that gut feeling.
And that boils down again to what relationship are you wanting? What do you want? Do you know what I mean? Like If anything in a relationship you pull someone up for that doesn't make you feel comfortable, communication is key. But if you say, ask a question of why do you do that, it makes me feel uncomfortable. If that relationship is right, then that other person should be like, oh, I'm really sorry about that. Yeah. I didn't realise that upsets you. I do it because of this. Yeah. Because I get too many notifications because of my job or whatever it is. Yeah. So this is my time with you. So I like to do that so that I'm dedicated to you. Yeah. But if it's not that answer,
if it's why you want to go at me for that for now?
If it's aggressive, if it's there's something to hide.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Noted. She says there should have been a red flag, but hindsight is 2020, I suppose. Then she goes on to say, 2 months before our wedding, he dumped me over the phone while he was at work. He told me I had to be out by the time he came home and he wanted nothing to do with me. My family owned the house. Ooh. I'm sorry. My first answer would be like, mate, I'm not leaving. No. You can leave me, fine, but my family own the house. Yeah. But the audacity on somebody to do that.
That's pretty bad, that.
Also, I think if you're breaking up with somebody, if I broke up with somebody, like I think basically when you break up with somebody, it's very telling for the rest of the relationship how they treat you, and he's obviously not very nice, because if you break up with somebody, you do have an element of guilt, you know.
Oh yeah.
And you think like, I'm gonna leave, but you stay in the house, and I'm gonna look elsewhere.
You've got to try and do the best thing that you can, or the right thing. But what's difficult is the feelings are so all over the place, aren't they? That sometimes you don't act like you should. Do you know what I'm saying? But to do that when it's not his house, that's no.
And also, I think 2 months before the wedding, do you think? Obviously, he had pressure from his grandmother, but do you think men, or like as a man, you feel pressure to get married?
Was that like setting me up to come in there about my story? Because you did it very well there, Sadie.
I just like to weave out some honest answers. No, but
so when
because why?
So I got engaged way back 7 years ago now, and looking back now, I was doing it because at the time wanted to be in that position. I wanted to be married. We were trying to have kids. Yeah. She had kids before we got together, so it was already like a family-based home. But I didn't feel pressure of anybody else or society or anything like that, but just because that's where I felt like I should be. Yeah. And the relationship wasn't quite. It was. She was a good girl, but it just wasn't what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So I did ask her to marry me. We went through IVF, and when that failed, she sort of said, "Look, you've asked me to marry you. It doesn't look like I can have children. You want children as well. What's going on?" And that's what then made me realise, do you know what? It's not quite right.
Yeah.
So then we went our separate ways.
Right.
But to get pressure to be married, that learnt me a huge lesson, that it comes when it comes, you know what I mean? The right time will appear.
Mm-hmm.
But do guys feel... I don't think they do now. What I'm trying to get to is, you know, when you look back at like my mum and dad's era, it was you got married early and you had kids, whereas now I don't think that's a thing, is it? Now
I read that and I think, I know you had pressure from your dying grandmother, but like, why propose if then like 2 months before the wedding you're going to break up with somebody via phone? That's like not giving a care, is it? You know?
Well, maybe if he's, you know, with a family member dying, maybe he felt that pressure to be married for them to see before they died, and then it was in that relationship that didn't really mean a lot to him, so then he's done all those things to... But then a little bit like me, where he's realised actually the relationship isn't right, and then he's ended it.
Maybe, except the next line is...
Here we go.
I later found out he left me for another woman.
Oh, I see.
I felt like I wasn't enough. A month after he left, I found out I was pregnant.
Oh.
I told him and he said he wanted nothing to do with the baby.
Oh dear.
What do you do in that situation? Because the thing is, this isn't a random person. This is his ex-girlfriend of 2 years.
I'll just try and think if that would happen to me. I don't think I would get back with the person just for the child's sake, but I wouldn't say I don't want anything to do with them. I think in any situation like that, if I've ever, you know, I'm lucky really that I've never come across that, but if I was to, you've got to
step up. That's like the worst difference, I think, between like men and women. That's for some reason, just because men don't carry the children, they think they can just get this freedom and well, you have the baby form, but I'm not having anything to do with it. And this, just because the girl carries it, it is still your responsibility.
Definitely.
It's a big separation between the genders there.
Yeah.
She said, I ended up having difficulty in the pregnancy anyway, so I had to have a termination. I have since been invited to his new girlfriend's baby shower and their wedding.
What?
I know, I've messaged her back to be like, what is happening, but she hasn't replied yet. I don't think, let me just check. No, she hasn't.
How does she even know them?
I don't know. That's why I said, did you know him before? Is she a friend? Why on earth would you invite your ex in any circumstance to your wedding? Unless you were like, you know, close friends, but... Yeah.
I mean, there's probably some scenarios out there that you know them through friends of friends or whatever, and, you know, but, no, that's not normal.
No. But then she said, your page has made me see it's not just me who's had terrible experiences. I find comfort in the fact that it's happened to other people, and I feel like I'm in such a better place now since he left. So I think that's just like a good... always ending. I feel like all the stories have a happy ending. I've said that before, even if it's not like, oh, I've met somebody and I'm happy. I think usually when you're in a relationship like that, she's obviously thinking, oh, his phone's down all the time, and
she's on edge,
probably like hanging over it, and then when it ends, as shit as it is and such a shock, you are going to be happier that you're not in it. If that person's not right for you, then you're going to end up with somebody better. But even like being by yourself is going to be better because you haven't got that turmoil.
Definitely.
So we always like to end on a positive, even though that is a very shitty story. I'd love to just get his side of it. And also like the other girl, you know, it's very weird. Like I've never been the other girl that, you know, somebody's having an affair with, like, and he's engaged and then he just comes home and then he's engaged to me. For me, that would be a red flag. I'd be like... Well,
you got to always wonder if they do that with you, then they can... Do you know what I mean? If they're jumping from one ship to the other, well, they can jump from the ship that you're on to another ship.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like a very... It's not how you look at somebody and think, oh, he's attractive. He's cheating on his fiancée with me, and she's just rang him and he doesn't want anything to do with the baby. Well, what a nice man, you know? So I'd be like, if he got that in him, that's him. Yeah. He can do that with anyone.
I mean, I do know from years ago that there is people that have left someone for someone and then they've stayed together, and it's
that does
because
happen.
you've just felt that connection stronger, and I absolutely get that. But you, like you say, you have to question it a little bit, because you think, well, if they can do that, they can. Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't know. It takes me a while to get over someone. Me.
And I think, like we said before, like it's all in the aftermath of it. So, like, he just came home, broke up with her straight away, nothing to do with it. Not very nice, so that's not a nice person. But if you have somebody that's really like, look, I'm so sorry, I've fallen for somebody else.
Yeah, there's a way of doing it.
There's all, and then everyone can be a bit more understanding. Yeah. It's just how you handle it.
I just think communication's huge in all relationships.
It is.
And if you do it right, then how can you be bad? You know what I mean?
It's weird, because in my other relationships, I think, since I was a bit younger, I hated communicating. So I hated saying anything about my feelings, like anything. I was just like, oh God, please no. And only probably now in the last, like, I don't know, a year or so, I think, just like getting older, you realise like how important it is.
Well, it can bring vulnerability. Stuff. That's why.
Yeah.
So and what you were scared of is you were scared of opening up and it going wrong.
Yeah.
Whereas you should realistically, again, be with somebody that when you do open up, even if they don't like it, because let's be fair, they're not always going to go well, is it?
No.
You know, in past relationships, I've tried to do it where you have like almost like a night in, and you have a little bit of alcohol, but not too much. Cook some food, and then say, right, what's on your mind?
What's happened this week?
And you can try and thrash it out and say, well, I don't like the way that you did that, and can you be a bit more considerate, or whatever is going on. And
I think that's actually a really good idea. That's a top tip.
Yeah.
Because in like everyday life, it's very hard as well, apart from like wanting to talk about it, but like giving yourself the time. It's very easy to be with somebody and actually not talk to them about
but
much.
Also getting back to that talking thing, you do have to pick your moments, because you know, we're all busy in our own lives, work, tiredness, and if you pick the wrong time to pick a hole at something, you might not get you might get a bit of a backlash, and then you think to yourself, well, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So as much as I'm advocating it, you really got to be careful how you do it.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you do it and it works, then your relationship gets better.
Yeah. Because
then if that person does do the thing that you said, I don't really quite like that, you can be like, whoa, we did have that talk and you're doing it again. And if they just show no regard for you, then you've got to be like, maybe this isn't right.
Yeah. Communication is key. Top tip from Stu.
Yeah, well, you know, wise old man.
So, yeah, introduce yourself a little bit.
Oh, do I have to do that? Oh, right.
Well, you know, just about like, obviously everyone's mainly here for dating, but you know, you live in Dubai, you've been out there now how long?
2.5 years now.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
And what's it been like there for you? So you're currently single?
Yes. Yeah, the dating scene out there, I think it's one of the reasons why I was, you know, first of all, I went with Matt on holiday. Because I knew there was a potential to go out there with my job, and I'd never been, so I needed to know what it was like. So Matt said, right, come on, let's go. So we did, and I loved it. I thought, wow, this is amazing. And obviously all the girls were stunning, and I thought, God, I cannot wait to live here. And when I say I live in Dubai, I do, but I don't. I live just on the outskirts, so I work shifts, so when my time off is mainly spent in Dubai. But yeah, dating's wise, I've dated a hell of a lot, and it's not the whole that cracked up, you know, it's not great at times. I think because it's a big catchment, people are too easy to not be interested, or I do find a lot of the girls are reliant on you paying a lot. Which at first, because I was doing well myself, didn't mind. But then when you get into more and more, shall we say, awkward dates, or dates that don't go as you want them to go, and you've paid for everything, you start to then think, I'm not going to do that again. And I'm someone that I expect to pay, if you know what I'm saying. Not expect to pay, what's the words I'm looking for? I don't mind paying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm not someone that's like frugal with my money. However, there is that aspect of Dubai. It is
What do you think about somebody in general, Dubai, back home, wherever, if you go for the date and they don't offer to pay? Like, what do you... Say you've had an amazing date.
Well, usually on the first date, I would... On a first date, I'd never expect her to pay.
Right,
okay. I just wouldn't. Okay. Yeah. But then after then, first of all, you need a thank you.
Yeah.
So if you don't get a thank you, that's a straight red flag for me.
Yeah.
Which I've had a few of them.
That's crazy.
But then there's a way of going after that, your second and third date, and you know, you just want appreciation in a way. I will pay all the time if I get appreciation. Yeah. And that doesn't mean in... Do you know what I'm saying? I mean...
I actually was not thinking that.
Your eyes started going.
I swear.
That's why I said it.
I'll pay for you if you give me a blowy. That's it.
Well, yeah. But, no, it's just a case of... You just expect maybe second or third date for the girl to be like, hey, you paid for first date. So, you know how it goes. You start talking, hey, let's do this, let's do that. Oh, yeah, should we go to SeaWorld? Should we go to Ferrari World? Why don't we go to Beach Club? Right, I tell you what, well, you paid first date. So when we go to Beach Club, I'll get that. I just expect a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And that, if you get that, you're like, right, great, brilliant. No, I'm not too fussed. But when it's every single time, you're like, no.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things for men, actually. Like, even with, like, chatting to somebody at a bar, you have to be, like, I've spoken to guys before, and sometimes they feel like if somebody comes on to them, like, are they just using them for drink?
Yeah.
So, you know,
yeah, exactly. It's a tough one, because it is sort of how it works. You know, men are attracted to visual, and women like to be looked after. And that's where the money balance thing comes in, and I absolutely get it. That's the thing. It's not like I'm rebelling against it. I absolutely go with it.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to talk about as well is sometimes I feel like the dating app scene. Sometimes when you go on a date, I find that people aren't ready. And
what do you mean aren't ready?
I don't know. Just like you know, like say you split up with somebody, and then you're like, right, I need to get out there.
Yeah, yeah.
So you go on the dating apps, and I might match with you or whatever, and we go on but are you realistically ready to meet me? Because you're processing your ex relationship, or it might not even be that. It might be that work's really busy for you. Like there was one girl, I think she was Eastern European. So we matched, we got talking, and I was looking for a date because I've had a lot as well of like pen pals, right? So where there was one girl where we were talking for seriously, we were talking for about 3 months, and every time I was like, because I work shifts, so it's not easy all the time, but she worked shifts as well, so there was a little bit of that. But whenever she was free, there was an excuse, or yeah, maybe or not. But I did fancy her, so I let her off quite a lot. But then it just got to the point where I was like, no. And so that's what I mean. Point of view,
like I said, she might not be ready, and that's just giving her a little something, a little message.
Yeah, so she kept me going, kept me interested all the time. I think they
call that like breadcrumbing or something. Where you just like give a little bit.
Oh, I've been breadcrumbed a lot, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I mean by not ready. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't want to be a pen pal. No, that's why this latest girl I was dating, for her to be straight away like, hey, let's go and do it. I was like, wow, this is a refreshing change. Yeah. Straight away, let's meet. Because when you do meet, over a dating app and photos, you can be like, wow, you're amazing, and be texting loads and be like, yeah, this is great. But if you've not met, the physicality of your energy or your attraction might be terrible.
Well, I'll say I wasn't on like a dating app for long, but when I was speaking to Matt, I remember texting my friend being like, I hope he just asks me out. Yeah. Because I can't be bothered to do all this chat, and then I could meet him and it could just not be a vibe.
Exactly.
And I wanted him to, and I think go in 5 days. Obviously, you have to chat a little bit.
Yeah. But you need that so that there's a little bit of like this guy's all right, or this girl's all right. Yeah.
Is it, you know,
definitely.
Okay? But yeah, I think it is better just to get out there.
But again, girls surely don't want a guy that's just messaging all the time and doesn't ask her out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm always like straight away, like, after you match and then it's like, hey, what you up to? And then you get to know each other a little bit over the next 2 or 3 days. I then always like to say, if I like her, let's go to WhatsApp. So I always think that's like a level up. So that's like, oh yeah, we've got a WhatsApp. And then once you're there, then if you've not asked her out within a week, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think that's an age thing though. I think the younger somebody is, they'll just waste time. Like even when I was younger, I would text more. Now I'm older, no. I can't be asked for that. There's no point. If you're not taking me out, we're never going to meet, move on to the next one.
I know some of the lads at work, they use the dating apps, but they wouldn't do it how I would do it. They just look to meet them on a night out when they're out. I don't know if it's a younger thing. I know there's less pressure there that you're going on an official date. And she could go out with her friends, you go out with your friends, but you're both drunk, and when you're meeting...
Yeah, it's not for me, but I listened to a therapist the other day say if you're meeting somebody, that is what you should do. Not get drunk with them, but like ask them on a night out, because then you can see what they like with your friends, you can see how they are, and there is obviously lots of pros to it. But also,
I'm not saying it's wrong.
No, but it's not for me. And if a guy said to me, first date, oh, I'm going out, do you want to come and meet me? Instantly I'd be like, this is just a casual thing.
Yeah,
if I like him, I might try it. I'll bring a friend. I'm never going to go by myself. I'll say like I'll bring a friend. But for me, straight away, the dynamic would change. I think, well, he doesn't want to get to know me properly. He just wants to see me and still going out. And it wouldn't be for me, but...
I think it's an easy way out.
No effort, mate.
No.
Really.
But again, if it's the younger generation, that's how they do things.
We just don't know the way these Gen Zs.
No. Getting old now.
Okay, I have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
What's the top 3 things you look for in a woman to date?
Right, I've got to find her attractive. That's 100%. I think, like I've said, communication is huge.
And by that, do you mean that like you can tell her stuff and she can be understanding and she's willing to share stuff? Or is there one thing what would you rather, like somebody that's more open to share or can handle stuff better?
Oh, that's a good question. Can I have both?
Sorry, no. Seemingly not. No, I mean,
I think I look for like openness.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't. If I met somebody that was very attractive, we got on, but she was quite guarded and closed, I think that would make me think, what's going on here? I don't like that, because I'm open and I'm willing to say, hey, this is what's happened to me in my life, and I want to share that with you so that you get to know me, and I'd do that straight away. I know a lot of people wouldn't do that and wait a while, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I look for that.
I've said that to you before, and I can cut this out if you want, but you go to therapy. Do you want me to leave?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, well, Stu, I don't know, some people are still very but we've spoken about it because I've done it as well. And I think if you're the type of person that can do therapy, and if you're in that, it just like changes everything. And I think it's very rare for a guy to be able to go to therapy, but I think it teaches you to speak about stuff and be open, and I think it's really good, but not many guys are like that.
Well, no, I mean,
what I've dated.
I've had a lot of therapy throughout my life, but the last 3 years have completely changed because I found someone that, well, she's my mate, really. Yeah. But, you know, the work that we've done has been huge. And also to coincide with moving out to Dubai and the challenges that brought, because it's not been easy. You know, I've had some great times, but I've had some down times, you know, to completely change your life and go over there. And it was new friendship groups and working itself was tough to get used to. So completely, yeah. So to coincide with all that as well, she's helped me humongously. But yeah, I think you're right, because of I do that and I'm open about that, then that makes me more open in a relationship. But also the spiritual stuff that I like to do, I've found that the last few girls that I've attracted, they've kind of been the same.
Yeah.
Because I think it's that energy thing that works away. So, yeah, that's the sort of stuff I'd look for. Attraction, is she sort of in touch with a spiritual side?
Yeah.
And, you know, like everybody, you want to get on, don't you?
Yeah, just be able to have fun.
You know, like natural camaraderie that's fun.
Yeah.
And dare I say it, you got to be good in the bed.
That's right. I'm surprised you know actually wasn't top 3.
Well, I didn't know whether I could go there.
I think it's fine. I've already said the word blowy on you.
Well, yeah.
Sorry. I think you're alright. You mentioned awkward dates there. And this was actually the Instagram question I asked this week. Okay. I asked people to tell me what's been your most awkward date.
Right.
So I'm going to ask you.
Right. So way back, God, it must have been 22 or 23. 23, I think. There was a boys' trip to Nottingham. And one of the lads had been to Tenerife and he'd met this girl. And she was down from, funny enough, London. And said, why don't you and your mates come up to Nottingham and I'll bring the boys down and we'll meet and weekend. So that happened, and one of those girls I sort of hit it off with, okay, shall we say. So once we'd left Nottingham, they went back down, we went up north, kept in touch a little bit. And then I was working one of my shutdowns at the power station up in Scotland, and I was wanting to go away. And just randomly got in touch with her and said, do you want to go away with me? So she said, yeah, why not? So I booked for it. I booked the trip. Went down in the car because she's from Essex. Got down there, opens the door. First words were, I bet you don't even fancy me now, do you? So I was like...
Vibe change.
What? My heart like sank. Because I was expecting, hey, how are you? You know, how are you getting on? This is going to be fun. So all it was just like fun. Let's go away. Let's just chill out. And then we went. She said. Yeah, and I could see that she was struggling within her own self with her weight issues or whatever it was. So then we go out in Essex that night.
So there was a gap.
Yeah, there was a fairly big gap. Well, I would say a year, maybe a year and a half.
Okay.
So it was a crazy thing to do, but I was very just like, let's give it a go. So she was just very standoffish. We then went out in Essex that night, and she, oh God, this looks bad in front of the viewers.
So no judgment somewhere.
Yeah, she then proceeded to just ignore me, kind of thing, and went off dancing with this other guy on the dance floor. But I had nothing to do with it. Do you know what I mean? So I was kind of just like, well, you need to do what you need to do. But it was just you two. Well, she was with all the friends. She was like, we're going out with all my friends tonight. Are you coming? Well, I was like, I'm not just going to stay in. So yeah, we went out and that was like that. And then it was like, come on, we need to go. Yeah, we need to go. And then when I remember getting back to our house and saying, look, you know, I've come down here. We're going away. If you just tell me how it is, you know, if you're not interested, that's fine, but we're going to be going away together. We need to at least be friends. Yeah. And she was just horrible.
Really?
Oh, she was horrible. I remember queuing in the check-in bit at the airport, and obviously we'd been out, it was just a little bit rough, but I was okay, and she just turned to me and went, if you're going to have an attitude like that, you might as well not even bother going.
Oh no.
And I was like... oh my God.
You thought you were having a little jolly for the weekend.
And it was just a nightmare. Absolute nightmare.
But you still went away?
Oh yeah, I still went away.
Did you have a nice time?
No.
Oh.
But yeah, that's an extreme first date type situation.
I don't think I've had awkward dates really. I don't think so, none that I can think off the top of my head. So I've been quite lucky. And I had lots of catfish stories. My friend's friend went out before and they met at London Bridge for coffee, but at night time. Right. And she said he turned up and he wouldn't look at her. And my friend said that her friend is so lovely that she didn't like question or anything. She just thought, okay, maybe he's a bit shy, or maybe he does look a bit different from his pictures and he's self-conscious. So she went on a second date with him as well. And then on the second date it was like, you know, you're obviously not the same person as the pictures.
Yeah.
If I was using fake pictures, I would never go to the face-to-face meeting, because what are you expecting? Because even if you say like, oh, you know what I was expecting, you've lied. And
how
you just can't...
How do you expect the relationship to start?
Yeah,
if you're just wanting a hookup, then right, okay, but I just don't get it. I don't get it.
What's your catfish story?
A girl from Kendal, which is just north of Lancaster, and she was just stunning photos, and I was like, I couldn't wait to go and see her. I remember pulling outside of a house in the car, got out, and this girl was walking down the driveway and didn't even think it was her, and she was just like, oh hi, are you okay? And I was just like, oh my god.
Was it a different person? Or was it
completely different person. Like, she was quite a biggish girl, but face completely different. So then I was completely on the back foot. It made me almost go like nervous.
Yeah.
We got in the car and she was very like in my face and chatty and, oh, you don't like your photos? Like straight away, like, there's a reason why you're saying that, because you aren't.
Because you don't.
Do you know what I mean? And I was just like, she even said, oh, we're just going to go back to yours then? And I was like, no.
Oh, very weird.
So then like drove into Kendal and I thought, well, I've driven all the way up here now anyway. So I then just thought, well, we'll just have a couple of drinks at the bar. And then nearly, when she went to the bar, I just thought, I'll just go. But I didn't, because I'm not like that.
No.
And then just like dropped her off and then just went home. It was, but like you, I don't get it. I don't understand, why did she do that?
What's the point?
What's the point in trying to attract me in? And it was off Match.com, that.
Okay.
That's a few years ago. So they're like a site that you pay for.
Right.
You know, not like these ones now where they're all free and it's like you don't have to invest your money or your time.
Yeah.
You know, my therapist is always like, you need to go on ones where you pay, because there's more people that are actually engaged to meet you, whereas your Tinders, or I think Hinge is alright, but Hinge is still free, isn't it? You can pay.
Yeah, I think you can.
Yeah. But yeah, your Tinder and your Bumble, nah.
Have you ever ghosted someone after a date? Because I feel like I get a few messages about that.
Probably, but I try not to.
You try to say.
I you know, again, Dubai, it's so common for that to be a thing.
Yeah.
It depends. I think if you've gone on a date and it's been okay, then no, I wouldn't at all. But if she's been in a bit of a nightmare, then why would I want to?
Yeah, sometimes it's a mutual ghosting, you can understand.
Yeah,
but sometimes not.
But ghosting is, I always try not to ghost.
Yeah.
Because it's not nice when it's done to you. So even if you're not interested, it doesn't take much to just at least reply, or take a while to reply, and then just be like, hey, listen, I'm sorry, it's not for me. Or even
just like, sorry, I've met someone. Like sometimes it'll happen to my friends, like just early on in the chatting, and I'm like, they've probably just gone on a date with somebody else and liked them, but I think everyone would rather an answer.
Yeah, and I think as well, I think I saw it on that Stephen Bartlett. He was talking to someone about dates and how we need to all get out of a first date being dinner, dressing up, drinks, and investing all that time and effort. And you know, you obviously are going to doll yourself up, and I'm going to pay for it all. So like we talked before, there's that like girl and man thing that you do. Yeah. And if you doll yourself up and make the effort and turn up and it's not what you want, you're like, why did I do that? And if I've gone out and paid for it all and you've not been what I want, then you end up going, why have I done that? And what he was talking about was, we need to do more first dates of like what you and Matt did. Let's go for a walk. Because that way the expectation isn't high. Yeah. And that way as well, you talked about like when you do walk, is it like endorphins that you naturally occur through walking, and that's going to help you both get on, and the like I say, the expectation or the realization of what is actually happening isn't, and if there's no drink as well, You know, because drinking changes your mindset, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, for sure. You can be having like a really good time with somebody, and then but it's just because you're drunk and chatting.
So if you do go on that little bit of a walk and it's only for an hour, the pressure's not there, and if you think that was all right, and then maybe say, oh, do you know what? We should go out. That's
what we did. We had like the coffee, and then it was like, well, should we go and get lunch? Yeah, and then and it
just slowly builds, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, but
very good tip.
Yeah, but I've not done it yet. So
it's a bit harder in Dubai though, so let's go for
let's go for a walk and it's 45 degrees
on the beach. And no, it's not gonna work. Okay, but I have to wrap it up. I'm sad because I feel like we could talk for ages. I think I'm gonna have you back on at some point.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
thank you.
You're very good.
It's been nice.
But I will let you go because Stu's got an appointment, so he's gonna head out. But yeah, thank you so much for coming.
No, thank you for having me on. It's been great.
And you are welcome anytime.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry guys, it's just me now. I absolutely loved having Stu on, but unfortunately he's got an appointment. So he's gone. I'm not going to keep you much longer though. I've just got a couple more awkward date stories that you've sent in. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed Stu. Come and give him some love because I absolutely love him. He's so good as a guest to have on. I've got to have him on again. Anyway, so I asked you on Instagram, what's been your most awkward dates? And I just want to finish some of these off. We ordered shots. I choked on mine and spat it all in his face. That is pretty awkward. Although it depends. Like, I feel like if the date was going well and he had a sense of humour, then it's not that big a deal. But there's nothing worse than having somebody spit on your face. Well, depends how the date goes, I suppose. First date spitting in your face might be right up somebody's street, but I think when you're out in public and it's like a shot, it's not really what you want. Took me out at night to go Pokemon hunting for about 2 hours. Safe to say I didn't see him again. I think that's the right choice. I've got another one. This is a bit longer. She said, I matched with a guy on Hinge who looked normal for 30, which made me laugh. Like, do we not look normal after 30? Nice bod, funny, good hair, decent career, etc. We decided to meet up at a fancy bar in London. I was a bit early, so sat down in the bar and ordered a drink. After 5 to 10 minutes, a guy comes over and asks if I'm Emma. I was so confused because this guy had barely any hair on his head, was quite overweight and not quite at all like the guy in the pictures. He introduced himself as the guy and I could see the resemblance in the eyes. So I was fairly convinced it was him. That's given Beauty and the Beast. You know, when the Beast transforms and she's looking in his eyes and she's like, it is you. It is you underneath the balding head and the protruding stomach. Look, I sound very bitchy saying that. That's not the problem. Bald people there's nothing wrong with. Overweight people there's nothing wrong with. I've literally got an ex-boyfriend who's bald, and I've got an ex-boyfriend who's a little bit overweight. Do I say that? Bit shady. There, said it. It literally doesn't matter as long as you know that's what you're signing up for. Like, if I met with my ex on Hinge and all his pictures had hair, and then I turned up and he was completely bald, it would just be really weird. Like, I don't get why people do it. Anyway, I was telling myself not to be shallow, give the guy a chance. He was still quite funny, but so pushy. Made me do a drinking game and he suggested if he won he would get a second date with me. Lol, awkward since I had no intention of that. I hate that because it just means that you're not brave enough to ask me for a second date. I mean, obviously he's not brave because he's using old pictures, but just ask me on a second date. Don't do it with a bet, and also don't get me drunk if I don't want to. Like, I don't want to play a drinking game with you on my first date, you know. At this stage I was feeling uncomfortable and trying to round up the date, but since, oh no, sorry, I've skipped a bit, sorry. She says, he was kept trying to sit closer and I kept moving further and further away, so he asked me what was wrong. At this stage I was feeling a bit uncomfortable, but since he asked, I just told him straight out that I didn't think he looked quite like his pictures and was surprised by that fact. You go, girl, because I know for sure in that situation I wouldn't be saying a single thing. I would be on that date until the bitter end and he would be asking me like, what's wrong? And I'd be like, no, nothing, I'm just She's a little bit shy, that's all. I don't want to drink. No, I'm fine. That's what I would be like, and I hate myself for it, because if somebody's shown up as a full-blown catfish, then they should actually face the consequences of it. So I'm glad she had the balls to go through with it. She said though that he got so offended, turned all red and became super defensive, which would be my worst nightmare. I tried to calm him down, saying that I didn't think he was ugly, because that's what I asked her. And that's not what I meant, but he should probably try to update his pictures so they are more accurate. Then he gave the comment, I used to date Victoria's Secret model. Okay, mate, sure. And I was like, good for you, but what has that got to do with this? Which I also love, because again, it doesn't matter. Even if you had hair 10 years ago, all that matters is how you've showed up now on this date. And it's not good. But I think she handled it so well. After that, he asked me to leave. Guy was panicking. Guy was in self-defense mode, and for his story, he needed to be the one to take back control and throw her out of the date. But well done. I was probably too harsh on the guy, but someone had to tell him. Absolutely. Again, I think if somebody's doing that, then they need to face some sort of consequence. It's just crazy, isn't it? I feel like that was the most common one though, was catfishes, which naively I didn't really think existed. I thought Matt might be a catfish at first because of his WhatsApp photo, and I was really naive online dating, but like generally I just kind of think surely they're not that common out there because they're always going to get caught. But turns out they are common, and they obviously don't care about getting caught. Okay, I've got another couple. I took a girl out to a restaurant. Turns out she had been sleeping with one of the waiters. That is awkward for all involved. Although I think I'd rather be the waiter in that situation. Out of any of the three, I'd rather be the waiter, and I don't know why. I just feel like he'd be the one most in control of the situation. And then I've got another one. I met a girl on a dating site and we arranged to go to her house. Put it this way, I could smell her before I got there. Wow. The whole house was absolutely disgusting, and she had her uncle there who was absolutely out of it on the sofa. I couldn't wait to get out. Managed to escape, deleted the app, but she did find me on Facebook years later and said she really liked me and was upset she didn't hear from me again. Some people are just oblivious. Anyway, those are the awkward date stories. I think I've been lucky. I haven't really had an awkward date that I can think of still. Even like when I said it to Stu earlier, I was like, I must have had one. But touch wood, I think I've been pretty lucky. Or they just weren't awkward enough and I've already forgotten about them. Maybe I've been the awkward date. Maybe there's somebody out there being like, this girl is so awkward. But no, I think actually I've been quite lucky. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up now. Thank you so much for watching, for listening. As always, please remember to leave me a review, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. And yeah, I hope you all have an amazing week, and I'll speak to you next Tuesday. Thanks guys.